Hey guys, it's Kelly here with kellygriffith.com, and you can find me on Facebook at Live with Kelly. And I am really glad you're with us today. We are in day 4 of our Conquer Your Message challenge. And today our topic is going to be why people aren't buying your products, right? And I've got my notes here, so bear with me because there's a lot of things I wanted to make sure I covered, and the only way I could do that was to put my notes together, so just bear with me, all right? So just as the why of your business is so critical to have a strong foundation, so is the why of your products. Now, after this training, I only want you producing products that you absolutely love. Products that you would say, heck yes, sign me up. I want that, right? And just to do a quick recap, as we move into the content for today. Day 1, we talked about the who of your business. Who are we? Who are we as a person? Who are we as a coach? Our why. We got into writing our stories out, and you needed to put a name to those stories and look for the commonalities and the themes that continue to come up, right? And then in day 2, we got into the why of your client. And not just doing, are they male or female? How old are they? Where do they live? We really dug deep to get into the minds of our clients when we asked the questions about what is their ultimate issue right now, right? What are they really truly struggling with? What is it that the last thing that they think of before they go to bed? What do they wrestle with while they're sleeping? And what is the first thing that they think of when they get up, right? And then what we did when we shifted into day 3 was we made a list of those common words and themes and phrases from our ideal client, and then looked to see which of those common themes for our client matched the commonalities that we had, and really honed in on where those two connected, right? And then we looked at the stories that we wrote about our background and our experience that applied to those commonalities, all right? So today we're going to get into why people aren't buying your products. And this is a common issue. This is one of the biggest pain points right now with people in the online space. There was a poll done recently, and it was expressed that this was the number one pain point, the number one struggle, and the number one frustration level, because as entrepreneurs, we come up and we go, oh, I have this awesome idea, and for us it makes sense and to put it together. So we spend countless hours and blood, sweat, and tears bringing that product to fruition, to maturity. And then we launch it, and the problem is the sales aren't there. This is especially frustrating for people who have a following, and they've launched the product and it basically just doesn't do nearly as well as they had even hoped for. And what that leads into is you'll hear a lot of people that do not have the right mindset that will say, oh, the market's too saturated. They say selling is a struggle. No one wants to pay my prices, and they can't afford me. And you know what? Let's own up to it, me included. We've all been there. We've all said it. You just can't stay there any longer, right? So here's the reality. There is only one you. There is only one me. But there is only one you with your message, that God created you with the perfect personality traits, and He wired you in such a way that you are the only one that can deliver that message. And there are people out there who need to hear it. That is why God put it on your heart to get it out there. So you need to start believing it about yourself. After today, stop making those one-liners, quit buying into them, because there are 7 billion people in the world. Okay, now I know some are babies and some are in third world countries, but the bottom line is there is enough people in the world who are online that there's no reason you can't find who needs your message. All right? So what this leads into is the number one reason why products don't sell is because of a weak product foundation. Okay, well, Kelly, what do you mean by that? The last few days, we talked about a very strong and a very solid business foundation. Okay? And the same is true when we look at our products. If your product doesn't have a strong foundation, it's going to eventually crumble, and you'll be lucky if it gets any traction at all. Okay? So you have to go into the why behind your product. Just like we went into the why behind the business, you have to go into the why behind the product. And why did you create them? And there's three questions that you have to have a very clear understanding, because when you have clear understanding and direction when you're producing these products and why you're producing these products, you're going to have the messaging behind it. All right, so here are 3 ways to make sure your product is wanted and that your sales go through the roof like you want them to. Okay, number 1 is your product why. All right, why have you chosen to produce this product? You know, like I said a minute ago, a lot of times we have this awesome idea and we don't do any market research, we don't check it out, we don't see if it's really the project we should be spending time on, and we spend days and weeks and months bringing it to maturity, and we birth this thing and it falls flat. Okay, and there's 2 parts to the product why. Okay, one part is from you, why did you create the product, and the other part is for your client, what is the benefit to your client? And I want to take the first half when we talk about you, and we're going to deal with that first, okay? And before we jump into this, you need to understand the why of you and why you're running this business. So the who is you, and the what is the product, and the why is what we're getting into today. Now, we all know that being an entrepreneur it's hard. There are highs and there are lows, and there is a certain type of tenacity, and there are certain qualities that you have to have in order to be able to handle the ebbs and the flows of being an entrepreneur. And that's where, once you get the ball rolling, you want to get your systems in place, because that's going to alleviate a lot of it. Okay, and we get into that in another training. But you need to go into why you created the business in the first place. And it needs to be rock solid. And there's 3 ways that I address this, okay? 1 is your service why. Number 2 is your lifestyle why. And number 3 is your emotional why, okay? So let's start with number 1. And I'm going to share a little bit about me. You know by now, or I hope you know by now, that I grew up playing competitive golf. And before I graduated out of the junior golf program locally, the coaches and the professionals, the teachers, the trainers, they would pull me and tag me and use me to put on clinics and demonstrations for the younger golfers. And when we would do clinics, the kids would get split up, and I would get assigned my own group of kids, or I would get assigned my own station, because I had been blessed enough to have a service heart from the beginning. And I was very blessed and very fortunate that the coaches and the mentors that I had, they not only taught me all the multifaceted dynamics of the golf swing and strategy and mindset, but they matured in me, they instilled in me how to explain it to someone else. And so I started being this coach before I even got out of high school. And then, the PGA Tour picked me up. And so now I'm learning about business, which fascinated me, and I'm learning to run the shop and run the tournaments and that kind of thing. But through that piece, I'm still teaching and training the members and the pro golfers that we came in from the tour, working with them and working with their wives and their families, right? And so the teaching and the coaching was such a passionate part of my life, though. I ended up leaving the tour because There are a few reasons, but the main one was my teaching schedule. I had so many people demanding to work with me, I couldn't accommodate it all. And that was really where my heart was. So I left the business aspect and I went out on my own. And in my mid-20s, I'm on my own teaching golf full time to juniors, to high schoolers, to middle-aged people, to elderly people. I was running clinics and I loved it. I thrived in it, you know. And in my late 20s, I went through a divorce and I needed to change. And I had to back away from working with students because I was so drained emotionally that I had to replenish my energy. I had to reset. I had to get myself back in balance. So in order to keep an income coming in, I took my business background and I went into the corporate world. And the company that I worked for, we had 36 or 39 offices globally. And I was with them for over 10 years. And the amazing thing is they pulled me and used me as a coach and as a trainer to not just our employees, but other staff and outside offices as well. So my passion was that need for me was still being met. And I was still able to impact a lot of lives. And I was able to pull on my 15, 20 years of experience at that point into corporate America, which was awesome. I loved it. I loved that part of the job. And, you know, ownership changed in the company and the new culture was not congruent with mine. It was time for us to part ways. So, you know, I get into real estate. I fell back on the family business. And what happens in that? I start being used to coach and train other agents. With clients, I'm coaching and training them. So again, my need is being met. My point is, when you are in this line of work, what is your service why? For me, it is something that has been imprinted and woven in the tapestry of who I am. And those of you that have that servant's heart and have that service attitude, it enables us to become passionate about what we know. It enables us to bring confidence. It enables us to bring conviction. But you'll see here in a minute how this ties into the product piece of it. So you have to know your service why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Whether it's nutrition, whether it's weight training, weight loss, whether it's entrepreneurship, it doesn't matter. You have to know your why. Why are you doing what you're doing? Okay? Number 2 is your lifestyle why. You know, for me and my family, we like taking vacations. We like going to theme parks. We like being out on the boat. We like to travel. We like to go camping. And we love to spend time in our backyard. And the only way that we can do these things is by maintaining that lifestyle. And it comes at a cost. So for my second why, it is my lifestyle. And each of us, our lifestyle why is different. Some of us want to live in a very grand house, and some of us are very happy in a very quaint, modest house. Whatever your lifestyle why is, whether it's, you know, you traveling half the year round and being home the other half of the year, whatever it is, this is the second component. What is your lifestyle why? Okay? The third one is the emotional why. And this is a really big piece for me because, sorry about that. Growing up playing competitive golf, I was growing up in a guy's world. And it was a constant struggle. It was a constant battle to prove that I was worthy to be where I was at. And I had to be able to hold my own. And what came from that, what I learned through it all is that when I set my mind to something, I can do it. And what it has done for my coaching aspect when I'm working with someone, or I have a friend or a family member or someone that comes to me and says that they're struggling, a lot of times it deals with self-esteem. And I'm here to tell you, you can do it. There is only one you, and God gave you these gifts and these talents, and it's your job. It is your duty to use them. For me, my emotional why is I don't want to see my friends and my family and others continue to struggle with that mindset. I want my son to grow up with a growth mindset And the only way he's going to do that and really understand is if he sees the example that my husband and I set. So those are the three components, okay, to the why behind your product for you. All right, number one, why do you service? Why do you do what you do? Number two, your lifestyle why. Number three, your emotional why, okay? And this is part of your homework, you know, to find your three whys, and it ties into what we talked about on day one. But the thing is, when you get your why behind your business and behind your product, the emotion that you feel and the passion that is lit within is going to come through your messaging. And that is where you're going to grab your client's attention, and they're going to want more. They're not going to want to leave the page. They want as much from you as you can. And that right there is the component. That is your critical piece for getting your products to sell. Okay, that's why this entire training this week was conquer your message. There are so many layers to this. It's like peeling back an onion, you know, or peeling back a flower. It's layer after layer after layer. And for us as entrepreneurs, it is our job to dig in and get to the core of that, because when you do, the words that you speak and the words that you write are going to resonate. And everything lines up. You're glad to do what you do. You're making a change for the people that you're interacting with, and you're making a difference. You're impacting the world, okay, and doing something that you love, and that's the key thing. And you know, this is a really good way to segue into number two, which is the messaging piece of it. Your messaging needs to speak to your client's wants and your client's needs. So you know, you go back to day two when we listed the struggles and the pain points and the desired outcomes for your client. And then you bring in today that emotional charge from your service, your lifestyle, and your emotional why. And you are able to convey the value that your client is looking for. Okay? You know, you're going to be able to speak to what they want. You're going to be able to speak to what they need. And the other part of your job is the experience part. What is that client? What is your client going to experience when they exchange and when they interact with you? Are you bringing your A+ game, or are you bringing your C- work? You know, you have to pay attention to how you deliver and how you give them the benefits of what they're looking for, okay? And that's part of your messaging as well. When you're delivering the outcome, when you're delivering the desired outcome, when you're writing your copy, I think yesterday in your worksheets we talked about when you looked at how to write the subtitles and copy the headline exercise, you have to go to the benefit of the benefit. Okay, and that's what we're talking about here. And if you haven't done your homework from yesterday, please get in there and get it done, and then go back and look at today. All right. The other part of this is you need to have knowledge of your market, and this is where market research comes in. You have to know who you're selling to. You have to know what their needs are and what it is they really want. And the other part of the market research is to stay up with trends and to survey people and to try different things. And one of the things that you could try would be to put a post up on your Facebook page and see what kind of engagement that you get. Now, I have had backpedaling where I've had people say, oh, I couldn't put that on my Facebook page. I'm not ready to step all the way into this yet. So then what you do then is go into one of the groups that's it's industry related to what you want to coach and what you want to train in, and put a post up and see what kind of engagement that you get. And look and see who you're getting engagement from. Okay, pay attention to this. If you get engagement, then what you do is craft an email and send it to your email list. Okay, and see what kind of reaction comes back. The point is we're all kind of like in this laboratory, and you have to kind of experiment with your delivery style, which modality is going to work right for you. And if you don't have an email list to send it to, then what you need to do is you need to do a Facebook Live, and you need to post it and start building your tribe. And if you need help with that, please go to kellygriffith.com and connect with me, and we will talk about that. Okay, I can help you with that. All right. So the third thing we need to go and deal with is your mindset. Okay, your thoughts become things. Your thoughts dictate your outcomes. Let me say that again. Your thoughts dictate your outcomes. Think about it for a minute. If you believe that the market is too saturated, if you believe that selling is a struggle, if you believe that no one is going to pay your prices, your thoughts dictate your outcomes. Whether you like it or not, your words have power. Okay? One of the things, I could so go off on a tangent and we would be here for probably another hour, because the power in your words is something else that's very passionate within me. Henry Ford has a quote, and it's something, I won't get this verbatim, but it's something like, if you think you can, you will. If you think you won't, you won't. And he's right. And the thing is that it goes into the inherited stories that we've conditioned ourselves to believe in. And, I have another training where you have to look at, as you grow older, you have to turn around and evaluate when those stories aren't serving you anymore. And when they're not serving you anymore, you have to give yourself permission to let them die. And in the course of that, one of the exercises you can do to reprogram your mindset is to get a belief journal. And if you struggle with this, I would start by taking a day and jotting down every time a negative thought comes to mind or something negative comes out of your mouth. Okay? Jot it down. Make a note. And then what I want you to do is I want you to go back and I want you to rewrite that negative into a positive. And one of the first things that's going to happen is, number one, your awareness is going to be raised when that thought starts to come out again. And what you have to do is you have to interrupt that thought. You have to interrupt it, and as soon as you can, speak the exact opposite. And what you have to do is you have to start reprogramming your brain and those thoughts. And when you get with your belief journal, start declaring. Declaring and defining. And a really good book that speaks to this is Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. It is one thing to turn around and say, I want a bunch of clients and I want to make a bunch of money to live out the rest of my days, or to go on this huge vacation, or what have you. The problem is it's too vague. You need to define the number of clients that you want. You need to define the amount of money you want to make, by when you want to make it, why you have to give the money a purpose. Why do you want to make that amount of money? And how are you going to do it? Okay? The mindset is a muscle. And just like any other muscle in your body, if you don't exercise it, if you don't use it on a regular basis, it's going to become weak and it's going to become crumbled. And there is a big warfare going on out there. Totally different topic, I'm sorry, but it relates. That your words have power. And I don't care if you believe in God, if you want to believe in the universe. For me personally, I believe in God the Father. And we are conditioned to be tripped up to replay the negative, whether it's an audio or whether it's a visual, a video recording in our head. It is a battlefield of the mind. That's what I'm trying to convey to you. It is a battlefield of the mind. So you using this belief journal and writing in it and starting to declare is going to help you overcome and start to reset some of those, the way that the brain is wired. So that's really it. You got to really get behind the why in your message. So some things to consider for today as we wrap things up is, are you clear as to your why for both your business and your product? And I really want to encourage you to go through the 3 whys for yourself. And I actually do this when I'm creating any product. Why am I creating this product? What is the service? What is the lifestyle? What is the emotional why? Because that allows me to tap into that inner root that we need to tap into. So I really hope this has helped you today. I'm really excited for you guys. I'm really interested for some feedback. So anything, any comments, any aha moments that you have, anything you want me to look out, just leave it in the comment below. Tomorrow we're going to be wrapping things up. But I'm really glad to share this time with you guys today, and I will talk to you soon. Have a great day, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.